Okay, edit, adding up the volume a little bit, and that should be good. Okay, so I don't normally do two videos in back-to-back days, but like I said when I posted my uh, guitar cover yesterday, my this isn't my old computer. My old computer, which was a Dell, crashed, so I had to get a new one. And since I've usually been doing these, excuse me, since I've usually been doing these movie reviews on Fridays, I figured I really should have waited a few seconds. Anyway, I figured it would be a good idea to take care of the review that I was going to do last Friday before the computer went kerplooey. So today, as you can see from the title at the bottom of the screen, I am going to be reviewing the 1983 classic, A Christmas Story. And there's so many things I can say about this film that are more so memories of me watching it when I was a kid. Um, and I'll get to that in a minute, but I kind of would like to go over the review, which is the main reason I'm making this video. This isn't some sort of vlog on childhood memories, after all. Um, so I think the one thing I would like to say about Christmas Story is that despite the fact that it seems to take place in the early 40s, it does a good job at being, in a way, timeless. Because the main plot of the movie, for the one person who somehow hasn't seen it yet, is that this young kid, Ralphie, is doing his damnedest to get a Red Ryder BB gun with his mom, his teacher, and pretty much everyone in the world, it seems, is telling him, "You'll shoot your eye out, kid." And I forgot to put my Packer hat on, but one second, just to get festive into the spirit. I think we already got the basic uh, part down of the story. Yeah, I can't do a review without my Santa hat. Anyway, um, so the movie, the main plot is Ralphie trying to find ways to convince people that a Red Ryder BB gun is the perfect Christmas gift to give. Um, I'm not gonna give away the ending or who does ultimately come through for him. But um, what I like about it is that, again, as I said, this movie is timeless because this is really relatable. Because everyone went through this. Everyone who celebrates Christmas, everyone remembers that point when they were a kid and there was that one present they really wanted. You know, it could have been a game, an action figure, a movie, a DVD, a guitar, anything. You know, everyone's been to that point where they wanted this one gift so badly, but common sense was dictating that that was not a rational thing to ask for. Um, so yeah, and there's some other things that I think that are very relatable too that a lot of people can relate. I mean, okay, kids being kids, daring them to do something stupid over some silly little, argument that they're having, that happens. Also, some of the arguments that the dad has with the mom, or the points where the dad is complaining about that one part of the house that's not working and it's just pissing him off. Yeah, that's happened too. Underage swearing, I think that's happened in generations even before when Christmas Story took place. You know, so dealing with bullies and all, a lot of it feels very organic. That if you just change the time period a little bit, there'd be very minor changes in the technology and clothing. But other than that, you could see it happening at any time. And another thing that I really like about Ralphie is that not only is the character well written, thanks to Bob Clark and Gene Shepard, who came up with the story. Gene Shepard wrote this story originally, and he actually narrates this as the adult version of Ralphie. But the writing, it does a good job at having the kids act like real kids, and the child actors are actually really good. I do like how Ralphie's character is, like, he's likable, but he's flawed. You know, he he can swear a little bit when he's not supposed to. He can be a little selfish, but at the same time, you understand that that's just part of being a kid. You just don't know any better sometimes. And they also make the movie more fun by making Ralphie and his friends a little mischievous, like i.e., getting convincing one of their friends to stick a tongue to a pole to see if it'll stick in winter. Um, and I also think another thing that really makes the movie work well is that it is pretty funny. Like there's a lot of jokes in there that are kind of crazy for a Christmas film. Like for example, having the mall Santa being a total jerk. That I don't think many people. I don't think anyone really saw that before in a Christmas story, or at least one that was meant to be a family film. And having worked in customer service jobs, I do understand the frustration that Santa was feeling, because there's always going to be that point where you've been working for a long period of time and all you really want to do is go home and you realize you still got several hundred more people to deal with before you can actually clock out and get into bed. Um, but I will say this. As much as I relate to being in a lousy customer service job, I would. I don't think there's ever a point where I acted rude, but tried to thinly thinly disguise it as some feigned attempt at being nice. I don't think I ever went that far. Um, I think. Well, I wonder what else I could say about this movie is that um, it's kind of interesting how it's a Christmas movie, but like how I said it was relatable and how it was timeless. That's kind of what sets this movie apart. Is that it's a little more down to earth. It doesn't really focus on the supernatural or the beauty of Christmas. It just kind of focuses on the nostalgic memories of growing up when you were a kid during Christmas. And I think that's really what ultimately makes the charm of the movie shine through is sort of looking back on when you were a kid and looking back on when you would, fantasize about Santa, fantasize about getting presents, when you were more focused on having your toys getting delivered to you on that day instead of focusing on school, dealing with bullies, etc. I'm not really sure what else I can say about this movie without really repeating myself. And I don't really want to describe some of the jokes in the movie that are hilarious because most people watching this video have probably already seen the movie, so they know which jokes I'm talking about. And if you're someone who hasn't seen this movie, I don't want to train wreck your ability to see this movie fresh and new. Um, I think since I've run out of things to say about the movie, there is one funny story I have about the movie. Is that when I saw it as a kid, the scene where Ralphie says fudge, but then they admit that he actually said the F bomb. What was funny is that I thought that when I saw that scene as a kid, if you said fudge, but you stretched out the F part of the word, that was the obscenity. I didn't realize that they meant Fuck. And the funny thing was, I didn't realize it when I was 8 or 9, but I knew what the F bomb was. I just didn't know what they were referencing. So I was kind of a very stupid kid. But all in all, I would still say that this movie is a movie that people watch every year. I think my one complaint about it is that people probably overhype it too much. It's a really good movie, but I feel like it's been overused to the point where it might turn some people off. It probably won't, but I do think this is one of those films that is a huge classic, and I think anyone who owns Christmas movies has at least one copy of it. Because my family and I, we had the VHS from back when the video cassette first came out, and we also got a 20th anniversary DVD. We even visited the house the summer of 2018 when we were spending a day in Cleveland. So there's a lot of memories that this movie has for me, and I'm hopefully there'll be plenty of generations in the future that see this movie and have their own memories of it with their kids and so on and so forth. It's the gift that keeps on giving. So I think that's enough from me. I've rambled on long enough, and hopefully next week when I do a review, I will have a little more to say instead of outside stuff. So See you, and I will do my guitar cover on Monday. Take care.